Dear brothers and sisters, we are in the arena now of Ashura. As we come into this new year and we look at the migration of the Prophet ﷺ, the hijrah of the Messenger ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ's commemorating the victory of Musa ﷺ, there are often similar themes that are spoken about as we enter into this new year and as we enter into the shade of the blessed day of Ashura, where the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to fast in celebration of the victory of Musa ﷺ. And of course, as we also know, on that tragic day, Al-Husayn radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the great grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, one of the chiefs of the youth of Al-Jannah, and one of the beloved ones, the closest and nearest to the heart of the Prophet ﷺ, was massacred. Also attaining a state of victory, because Allah does not judge victory or defeat by the worldly outcome as we see it. Musa alayhi salam was victorious against his tyrant Fir'aun when he stood in front of him, and he was victorious before Fir'aun and his army was drowned. He was victorious because of the sincerity and the courage that he had as he stood in front of Fir'aun and that trust that he put in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whether Fir'aun and his army drowned and were defeated or not is irrelevant to whether or not Musa alayhi salam is victorious. Likewise with Al-Husayn radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, when he stood in front of the face of a tyrant with the courage and sincerity that he had, despite being betrayed by many of those that were supposed to support him, despite his body instead being dismembered, the soul of Al-Husayn and the heart of Al-Husayn were intact. And the victory of Al-Husayn is like the victory of the people in Surah Al-Buruj, Ashab al-Ukhdud, those people that were murdered for no other reason but saying La ilaha illallah. And so victory in the scale of Allah is different from victory in our scale. And in that, in the story of why we fast and commemorate and thank Allah for the victory of Musa alayhi salam, and what ended up happening later on in history on that very same day, in that is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that imparts a wisdom and a practical action upon each and every single one of us. Those that love the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, those that love Musa alayhi salam, the Prophet that came before him, and those that love the grandson of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Al-Husayn, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna afdal al-jihad kalimatu haqq 'inda sultanin ja'ir," that the greatest jihad, the greatest struggle, is to speak a word of truth in the face of a tyrant, and to fear no one but Allah as you speak that word of truth, and to seek the approval of no one but Allah as you speak that word of truth. To fear not the consequences of the tyrant, nor to be intimidated by the throne of the tyrant. To not want to be celebrated by the masses for speaking to the face of the tyrant, nor to hope that the tyrant will include you in his class because he sees something special inside of you. But purely for Allah to stand in the face of a tyrant and to speak a word of truth. A word of truth is not always a word of confrontation. Sometimes a word of truth is in the capacity of rectifying a tyrant. Sometimes it is approaching a tyrant in a way that you sway him to where his tyranny stops. And that is one of the benefits from the hadith, is that if you are able to stop a tyrant from committing his tyranny by speaking a word of truth in his presence and swaying him away from his tyranny, then the effect on society is that tyranny is uplifted without the bloodshed that usually comes in the process of trying to repel it.